Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lina. Today we're going to be talking about narcissists, specifically how to spot narcissists. I want to start with something a little bit uncomfortable. Most people who've encountered narcissists, who've been in a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's a romantic, a family, or friendship, or workplace relationship, didn't see it coming. Most of them were intelligent people, perceptive people, people who thought, this will never happen to me. And yet, the reason for why it catches people off guard isn't because they're naive. It's because narcissistic behavior is designed, consciously or not, to be invisible until you're very deep inside it. I've decided to split this series into 3 videos instead of filming one 1-hour long video. Today is part 1 out of the 3 videos. In this video, we're going to cover the early stage red flags, the ones that appear right at the beginning, before you're in too deep. These are the ones that are the hardest to spot because they're wrapped into the things that feel good, that are designed to make you feel good. Get comfortable. Let's get into it. Now, let's start by defining what narcissism is. I'm going to use the definition from the DSM-5. According to the DSM-5 TR, narcissistic personality disorder is defined as a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy, beginning by early adulthood. Diagnosis requires at least 5 of 9 specific criteria, including a sense of entitlement, exploitative behavior, and arrogance. Essentially, narcissistic personality disorder is characterized by a deep need for admiration, a fundamental lack of empathy and grandiosity, and so much more. We're going to talk about it. Interestingly enough, beneath that surface confidence, most narcissists carry profound shame and fragility. That grandiosity of theirs is armor. This matters not because we're going to excuse their behavior, but so you stop trying to fix it by giving more of yourself. You have to understand, you can't fill a tank that has a hole at the bottom. Narcissism exists on a spectrum. Healthy self-confidence at one end, full narcissistic personality disorder at the other end of the spectrum. Most of what we're going to cover today sits in the middle of this spectrum. Narcissistic traits that fall short of a clinical diagnosis but can still cause significant harm, which is exactly why we're going to mention every single red flag possible as much as possible in my videos. There are 2 main types of narcissism that we need to recognize. The first type, grandiose narcissism, loud, charming, dominant. Openly boastful, condescending, easier to spot. Type 2, covert narcissism, shy, self-deprecating, victimized on the surface, quietly certain of their own specialness, masters of guilt and passive manipulation, far harder to identify. I'm going to flag which type is associated with each red flag as we go. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for me to mention every single possible red flag associated with narcissism in my videos, but I will try to mention as many as possible. Let's now talk about the early stage red flags. On to the first red flag, love bombing. Usually this is the first thing to happen and it's the hook. Love bombing is an overwhelming flood of attention, affection, and intensity at the beginning of the relationship. They text you constantly. They say, I've never felt this way before. I've never met anyone like you before. And all of that happens within a week or 2 of you meeting each other. They call you their soulmate before you've even had one disagreement. It feels incredible. It's supposed to. Let me give you some examples. Let's say you've only been on 3 dates and they're already suggesting that you should meet their parents and their whole family. They talk about the holidays you'll go to together. They text you good morning and good night every single day without failing. They'll be sending you long, heartfelt paragraphs about how much you mean to them and how much they love you, all after 7 to 10 days of you meeting each other. Once you briefly mentioned that you're into hiking, the next day they've already purchased boots, booked a hiking trip, and now they're calling it your thing that you'll be doing together as a couple. And every single time you try to slow it down and take it down a notch, saying that you need a quiet evening or you need some personal space, they become visibly wounded and start saying something, You just mean too much to me. I just care about you so much. I can't help it. The pace feels wonderful, but also slightly breathless. That feeling is worth listening to, I promise you. Healthy attraction is supposed to build gradually. Love bombing arrives all at once. Which brings me onto red flag number 2, future faking. Alongside love bombing comes future faking. Elaborate promises about the future that you'll have together that create emotional investment but rarely materialize. Once again, examples. They might be saying something like, when we move in together, we're going to get a dog. I've already been looking at breeds. You've been dating for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Still, that's very fast paced. They will plan a holiday with you, destination, hotel, activities, and then quietly never book it. When you try to bring it up months later, they act like nothing happened and say, oh, you've read too much into it. They say, I'm going to introduce you to my family at Christmas. Christmas comes by, and then you're having to face a series of excuses. They speak confidently about our future and how we're going to get married in a way that keeps you feeling secure. But every specific plan dissolves once it's time to act upon it. Future faking isn't just being optimistic. It's the pattern of using the idea of a future as a currency, something to maintain your investment without ever cashing the check. Onto red flag number 3, moving too fast. Related to both of the above, this is the urgency to lock things down before you've even had a chance to evaluate who they truly are as a person. Examples. After barely a month of dating, they suggest that you move in together. When you express hesitation, they frame it as your lack of commitment. They may define the relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, almost immediately, and seem super unsettled by any of your suggestions to take it slow. They push to spend every available moment together. If you have plans with friends, they will find subtle ways to make you feel guilty for wanting to spend time with your friends and other people because you're not choosing them by doing so. They propose spending a week-long holiday together after knowing each other for less than a month, framing it as romantic, but using it to accelerate intimacy in an environment where you're already dependent on them. Speed in this context is their tool. It creates your commitment to them before you even reach clarity about who they are as a person once again. Red flag number 4, testing boundaries early. This one is subtle and often dismissed, but it's super deliberate. Early on, they'll push your boundary and see how you respond. For example, let's say they show up at your house unannounced. You're surprised, but you let it go and make them welcome. They learn that your physical boundaries are flexible. They borrow £50 from you early in the relationship without asking. They don't return it and you never bring it up. They've noted that. You say you don't like a particular topic during a conversation, like your family or your weight. They bring it up again a week later, casually watching. You probably don't say anything. They make a mildly insulting joke in front of your friends. You laugh it off. They push slightly further next time. They read your phone as a joke. You don't react strongly. They file that away. Each of those is a small test, and every single response or non-response on your part teaches them where your limits are. The gradual escalation that follows isn't accidental, I promise you. Red flag 5. Idealization without really knowing you. They put you on a pedestal before they actually get to know you. And you know, the problem with pedestals is they are precarious. For example, after 3 weeks, they tell you, you're not like other people, you're genuinely too good. They have no evidence for this, they are projecting. They describe you to their friends using superlatives before you guys have even been through anything significant together. The first time you make a mistake, like cancelling plans last minute, forgetting something, expressing a flaw, or disagreeing with them, they demonstrate a disproportionate reaction, as if you've shattered something, because in their mind, you really have. They say things like, well, I never have to worry about this with you. You would never do something like that to me. That's not an observation, that's a mold they are pressing you into. The idealization has nothing to do with you. It's not about you, it's about who they need you to be. And the moment you fail to be that person, which obviously you will because you're human, the devaluation begins. Red flag 6, mirroring. Early on, they seem uncannily similar to you. Same values, interests, same quirks, even the same wounds. For example, let's say you mention you're passionate about sustainability. By your next date, they're talking about their commitment to the environment in detail. A month later, it's never mentioned again. You open up about your difficult childhood. They reveal an eerily similar story. Later, you discover it was heavily embellished or borrowed from the things you'd said before. They seem to love every book, band, film that you mention. Their taste appears to be a perfect reflection of yours. Over time, though, their preferences quietly evaporate into thin air. You value direction and honesty in your relationships. For the first few months, they perform exactly that. Later, you realize that honesty and directness is exactly what they're most resistant to. Mirroring creates a powerful sense of being understood, of finally finding your person. That feeling is real. The mirror is not, though. So I'm going to close the first video in our series by saying the following. These are the red flags at an early stage, the ones designed to hook you before you've had a chance to look clearly and to evaluate the person for who they truly are. If you have to take one thing from this video, I want you to take the following. None of these feel bad in the moment, and that's the point. Love bombing feels wonderful. Future faking feels exciting. Mirroring feels like a connection. Narcissistic relationships never begin with pain. They begin with the closest thing to a fairy tale you've possibly ever experienced. The pain comes later once the investment has been made. In part 2, we're going to discuss the communication red flags, the patterns that emerge once you're already inside a relationship with a narcissist, gaslighting, Darvo, the silent treatment, and more. Link is right here. I will see you in part 2. And if this was useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it genuinely helps someone. Take care of yourselves.